Are you ready for your time management revolution? If so,
Ask yourself this.
Are politicians and the media causing you to lower productivity? In a different chat about National Quality of Life Month, I shared the U.S. National Library of Medicine's definition of quality of life, as displayed at definitions.net. Quote, a generic concept reflecting concern with the modification and enhancement of life attributes, for example, physical, political, moral, and social environment, the overall condition of human life. End quote. I gave a few tips about assessing your current quality of life when it comes to the life attributes of your physical, moral, and social environment. But I intentionally did not address your political environment because it would have doubled the length of the chat. I promised to cover that topic at a future time, so here we are. We're in the year 2019, and I've been in business long enough to have experienced 3 presidential elections in the United States. Politics can get ugly, and the last presidential election was exactly that. And then some. And the ugliness has continued. So much so that I end up addressing it in many client sessions. My typical time management sessions cover work challenges, personal challenges, or work-life balance challenges. Even with clients who engaged in very personal conversations with me, politics and politicians never came up in conversation. That all changed in 2016. Since that summer during the campaign, I've had to spend part of many sessions addressing the stress related to politics, politicians, and the media. At first, it was just one client, but then it was another and another and another until it was becoming more of the norm rather than the exception. Once this became a trend in my sessions, I went back to my notes from previous sessions and began studying current sessions. I was looking for patterns. Why was this happening? Here's what I discovered. Stress levels had a direct correlation to the amount of time spent watching television news shows or listening to talk shows or scrolling through social media. And their stress was caused by their anger about what was being opined in the shows or posted on social media. Also, their stress was causing mind fog, which lowered their productivity. Once I understood this, we drilled down into ways to prevent this stress from even occurring. So here are your steps. Step 1, limit your television, radio, and social media time. If you ever utter the words, I don't have enough time, but you watch more than an hour of television a day or spend more than 30 minutes per day on social media and it's not a part of your job, you might want to reassess how you use your time. If you choose to partake in social media, consider going directly to the profile of known non-inflammatory posters instead of scrolling through the main feed and seeing all of the hate that's posted there. Step 2, digest only the facts. It's the rhetoric and the guessing and the prognosticating that are inflaming the stress levels. So it's important to stick to the facts. But facts are pretty tough to find nowadays. I had one of my clients watch 10 minutes of a so-called left cable news show and 10 minutes of a so-called right cable news show with me and asked her to pick out every true proven fact that was shared. There weren't any. It was 10 minutes of people debating about hearsay. I could see her body language tense up as each minute ticked by. We figured out which part of the shows actually shared facts. Complete minute-long sound bites instead of 10 seconds. Multiple unedited sentences of documents instead of phrases picked out and strung together by ellipses so that she'd know what part of the show to watch and skip the rest. Watch or listen to the factual news, not the commentary. Step 3, decide what you have control over and then control it. Isn't it sad that it took the death of our late president, George Herbert Walker Bush to stop the posturing and bickering for about a day and a half. We can't control other people's emotions and their reactions in the current political climate, but we can control our responses. Is there a stranger nearby you harping about politics? You don't know that person. It makes it a bit precarious just to approach them and engage them in conversation when they're already upset. So I'd recommend controlling your situation by removing yourself from it. But what if it's a friend? How would you like to respond? In a calm demeanor, using facts and unbiased language in order to have an intelligent discussion? Or would you prefer to ask them to refrain from discussing politics at this moment? My cable news client, who I mentioned earlier, has the opposite opinions from mine when it comes to immigration, welfare, and other topics, and yet we've never fought. We've had some extremely enlightening discussions that have shed light on what information each of us has used to form our opinions. We have agreed to disagree, yet we still totally respect each other because we stuck to the facts and left emotional words out of it. I preach my productivity philosophy that time management is all about mind management. Therefore, anything that affects what's going on in your brain will affect your productivity. Your physical, political, moral, and social environment affect how you feel and therefore how you think. So, if your current conditions aren't in alignment with your desired quality of life, your mind will feel bogged down and your productivity will be lowered. Think about where your politically related and politician related stress comes from and decide what you'll do to prevent it. Your brain will thank you by tossing those lower productivity levels aside and getting back into gear. Remember, even with all this craziness being thrown out around you and being talked about around you, you do have the power to tell your time what to do.